Hi, and welcome back, I hope, to Play It Loud. I think it's well past time that Bowie's box sets got the love and attention that they need. They may be expensive, sadly, I think they are expensive. And those of you who've watched any of my previous videos will know I'm a vinyl lister. I really like LPs, but David Bowie's box sets of LPs, they're very expensive, very big, beautifully put together. I've seen a couple, and the quality is superb. But the overall cost, I started by buying the second box set. I didn't like the first box set. I saw Bowie live. I saw him in the early 70s, very early 70s, at the start of the Ziggy tour in Festival Hall in London. Never forgotten it. I can remember exactly where I sat, and I can see him on the stage along with Mick Ronson. Uh, yeah, great concert. But Bowie's earlier albums, Space Oddity, largely acoustic. Wild Eyed Man from Flea Cloud, it's Bowie finding his way. Man Who Sold the World, yeah, okay. Couple of good tracks, but again, it's let's not be folk, let's be heavy metal. And no, Bowie was growing up. Bowie was getting into his stride, and I don't think he hit it before Ziggy Stardust. And there may be arguments about Hunky Dory, but Ziggy, no point in talking about it any further. Fabulous album, cultural icon. I personally love Aladdin Sane, and we won't forget Pin-Ups as well. But the first box didn't really work for me. So I started on the second box, and it would be foolish to go through these without giving a little bit of financial information, because no good selling them and then you finding that they're just a little bit out of your reach, because they are going up in price. I checked Discogs because I wanted to know, I was curious, and Who Can I Be Now is currently going for around £200 for the box. A New Career in Town, 175. Loving the Alien, 250. Now, that genuinely surprised me. But Brilliant Adventures you can pick up still for around £75. I Can't Give You Everything, the new one, around £100. I think the later ones will go up in price. I can't see them reprinting these anytime soon. My best guess is that at some point they'll put them out on Blu-ray, because the Bowie estate will want to continue making money. But these particular boxes are really, really well put together. Let's have a quick run through. Who Can I Be Now? First box that I brought. And what do you get on it? Okay, what you get on it is Diamond Dogs, live at the Nassau Coliseum, 2 David Lives, the original David Live, or the original as produced and put out, and a remixed, remastered version by Tony Visconti. Tony Visconti was the producer, I'd say, of Bowie's best albums and most of Bowie's albums. Okay, Station to Station, Station to Station, Tony Visconti mix. And finally, Young Americans, and where have I got it? Ghoster. Ghoster is what Young Americans was going to be before Bowie pulled it, re-recorded some stuff, and released Young Americans. The personnel on Ghoster is almost identical to the personnel on Young Americans. Luther Vandross was there, David Sanborn was there. It's a who's who of the best session musicians at the time. Tracks, John Harmony, Dancing Again, I think it came out as a single. Somebody Up There Likes Me, It's Gonna Be Me, Who Can I Be Now, Can You Hear Me, Young Americans, the only track on Ghoster that's identical to the one that's on the Young Americans album, and Right. So if there's one really good reason for buying this box set, that would be it. Before moving on though, I've got to draw your attention to these. This is another CD from that box, and this is called Recall. Every CD box, I think every album box, has Recall albums and CDs. The latest one has 3 Recall CDs. They're all over an hour long, and they pick up all of the bits and pieces that appeared on different B-sides, in films, in other countries. I think Japan got a couple of tracks which were never released over here. There's extended mixes, there's dance mixes, there's every variation of everything that Bowie ever did that didn't appear on an album. And there are so much good for that. So Recall is worth mentioning. And just before I move on, 2 more things about the boxes, and I won't do this on other boxes because they're all the same. All of the CDs come in these really nice, is it rice paper? They come in their own protective sleeve, every one of them. And they all come with a version of this. And these books, and they are books, they're hardback books, proper hardback books. And come on, you can see exhaustive, really, really good books. So that's an overview of the first box, but we'll move on. A New Career in Town, Bowie 77 to 82. My favourite period, I have to be honest with you. I think this is a wonderful period for Bowie. But let's just go through what you're going to get in the box without too much detail. Low, the first Berlin album. Heroes, I think the last Berlin album. Heroes EP, German version, bits and pieces. You get 2 versions of Bowie's Stage, live double CD. I think it came to 3 or 4 albums on the LPs because they're quite long. One version, Tony Visconti's new mix, the other version as original. The same can apply to this, I think, the last Berlin albums, Lodger. There's an original and there's a Tony Visconti mix. We then come to Scary Monsters, Super Creeps, and Recall again. In this case, still a single CD. And the book, just the same as the other book. It's almost impossible to pick up. I won't do the books again. They're excellent. Loving the Alien. Not sure why this is attracting the highest cost. It's got some really good albums on it, but if I'd have guessed, I know the first one's really expensive, but I wouldn't have thought this would have been second in line. Hey, what do I know? What do you get? You get Let's Dance. Nothing more than to say. Probably one of Bowie's highest selling albums, around 83, I think. Serious Moonlight Tour. Bowie was never bad live, and that's a really good double album. Tonight, I think, is where, at the time, as I recall, the critics were saying that he might have lost the plot. I don't think it was that big a sale. Could have got it wrong. Never Let Me Down, and I didn't buy this at the time. I think the general impression was that Bowie was on a bit of a slide. Not sure it's true. Never Let Me Down, Tony Visconti mix. He updated it. Sounds better. Glass Spider tour, live in Montreal in '87. I say again, Bowie didn't make a bad live album. And then what you might call the extras in the box. Dance. This is just called Dance. It's got dance mixes or extended mixes of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 or 14 tracks, all from this era. I don't think they're available anywhere else, only on this box set. And as on the first two, you get Recall. Only now we're up to 2 discs. 2 discs, let's just run through. First one, Let's Dance, China Girl, Modern Love, Loving the Alien, Don't Look Down, Dancing in the Street. That's the one with Mick Jagger. That's Motivation, Volare, Labyrinth, Magic Dance, and The World Falls Down Within You, Underground. And that's just the first CD. So, like the others, a really, really nice box. Brilliant adventure. We're getting a lot more up to date now, and some of you Bowie fans even may not know all of these albums. And I'm going to confess, I wasn't familiar with everything on all of them before I played it. But again, let's go through briefly. Black Tie, White Noise, Buddha of Suburbia, Outside. Outside's a double album, and I wasn't familiar with it. Earthling, back to singles. Hours, and I confess I wasn't familiar with this either. Bowie never made an album that wasn't worth investigating. Bowie at the BBC, I'm going to come back to that. Toy, I think there was a little box set built around this. That's how important some people thought it was. And finally, Recoil. And in this particular one, Recall has 3 CDs. It would take far too long to read everything out, but it collects everything that you couldn't get on the LPs in that time. And I'm going to come back to this album, to Bowie at the BBC, BBC Radio Theatre. Let me just run through the track listing of this, because this box set I don't think sold that well, and you can get it for a reasonable price now. You've got a double CD here. Wild is the Wind. I'm struggling to read this. Ashes to Ashes, Fever, This Is Not America, Absolute Beginners, Always Crashing in the Same Car, Survive, The London Boys, I Dig Everything, Little Wonder, The Man Who Sold the World, Fame, Stay, where are we now? Starman, Heroes, Let's Dance. It has All the Young Dudes, I'm Afraid of Americas, and frankly 2 tracks that I can't read. That is one hell of a set list. That's over a double CD, and if you can get it separately, do so, but I've not seen it. And finally, I can't give everything away. The new box, still available from Amazon. Buy it. And if you don't buy it, stream it. And I'll take you through it briefly. There's a large number of critics who suggest that this is the period that Bowie refound his flame. Like every artist, he had his ups and downs. I think Dylan in the 80s had a serious down, and in my opinion, genius of the modern world. So even Bowie had a period when he wasn't as good as other times, but this came back. Okay, Heathen. We'll start with Heathen. Yep, that's what it's called. Listen to it if you haven't. Montreux Jazz Festival, and I'm going to come back to that. Reality. Tony Visconti again. Bowie, a reality tour. Every one of these boxes, I think I've gone through, has a live CD, live concert, and it's the full concert. It's the whole 2.5 hours. The next day, big gap between reality and the next day. A Bowie EP. This one passed me by. I think you can get it separately, but I didn't know it. Black Star. I struggle to listen to Black Star. I've got the vinyl, and it's very sad. You probably know it was released a couple of days before Bowie died, and he recorded it knowing that he was going to die. He'd been told he had cancer and he had a limited amount of time left. The album reflects that, but I find it just too sad. Yeah. Okay. Recall. I've mentioned this, I think, before, but recall here 3 CDs, 3-hour-long CDs. And we're back, as the others ones have, to the book. I will roughly do this again if I can, because it's worth showing. None of these books are other than excellent. I don't know what they'd charge if they put them out separately, but they're really good. Before I finish on Bowie's boxes and why we should celebrate them, I want to finish with this, Bowie and Montreux. I've listened to this twice. It's, I think, the best recorded live Bowie concert, and it was up against some strong competition. This sounds superb. But what makes it different to the other Bowie live albums? What brought me back to it? I mentioned earlier on, I think, Low is my favourite Bowie album. This live concert contains the whole Low album, start to finish, live. I'm not going to say anything more. It's fabulous. So, Bowie's box sets. If you can get them, get them. If you can't, stream them. You can stream the box sets and pick out bits. It's not the same as streaming the individual albums, particularly Recall. I think the Recalls are available on the streaming services. I hope they are. Frankly, I haven't checked, but they ought to be. Most of this sort of stuff really is. And you have to listen to this. Bowie at Montreux. It's Bowie at his regal Duke best. So find it, play it loud.